Hi everyone, so this is the last video in the series of REST APIs. In this video we will learn what all HTTP response status codes we have and where we use it. Let's talk about what is response code first. HTTP response has a field. This field is called HTTP response status code. This status code signifies what happened with our request. Is it completed successfully or we got any error? So the HTTP response status codes are grouped in 5 classes or categories, which are: the first one is informational responses. So the first HTTP status code we have is 100, that is continue. This interim response indicates that everything so far is okay and the client can continue with the request. So the second one is 101, that is switching protocol. This code is sent in response to an upgrade request header from the client and indicates the protocol the server is switching to. The third one is 102, that is processing. This code indicates that the server has received and is processing the request, but no response is available yet. The fourth HTTP response code is 103, that is early hints. This status code is primarily intended to be used with the link headers, letting the user agent start preloading resources while the server prepares a response. Now we have successful responses. As the name suggests, we'll got this response whenever an event is completed successfully. For example, the first one is 200, that is OK. 200 means the request is successfully completed. Suppose we are fetching a user data and our server can say OK, this is the user data. Then we have 201, that is created. This means the request has been completed successfully and a new resource has been created as a result. The third one is 202, accepted. This means the request has been received but not yet acted upon. Then we have 203, that is non-authoritative information. This response code means the return in meta information is not exactly the same as is available from the origin server, but is collected from a local or a third-party copy. This is mostly used for mirrors and backups for another resource. Except for that specific case, the 200, that is 200, OK response is preferred to this status. Then we have 204, that is no content. In this, there is no content to send for this request, but the headers may be useful. The user agent may update its cached headers for this resource with the new ones. Then we have 205, that is reset content. This tells the user agent to reset the document which sent this request. Then we have 206, which is partial content. This response code is used when the range header is sent from the client to request only part of a resource, not the complete one. Then we have the redirectional messages. For example, we have 300. This can be used in multiple scenarios, so it's a multiple choice. The request has more than one possible responses. Then we have 301, moved permanently. This response code tells us the URL of the requested resource has been changed permanently. The new URL is given in the response. Then we have 302, that is found. This response code means that the URI of requested resource has been changed temporarily. Further changes in the URI might be made in the future. Therefore, the same URI should be used by the client in future requests as well. Then we have 303, that is see other. The server sends this response to redirect the client to get the requested resource at another URI with a get request. So the fourth category is client error responses. So the first one is 400, that is bad request. This response code tells us the server could not understand the request due to invalid syntax. Although the HTTP standard specifies unauthorized, semantically this response means unauthenticated. This means the client must authenticate itself to get the desired response. So the next status code is 402, that is payment required. This response code is reserved for future use. The initial aim for creating this code was using it for digital payment systems. However, this status code is used very rarely and no standard convention exists. Then we have 403, that is forbidden. The client does not have access rights to the content. That is, it is unauthorized. So the server is refusing to give the requested resource. Unlike 401, the client's identity is known to the server. So now we have the most popular 404, that is not found. The server cannot find the requested resource. In the browser, this means the URL is not recognized. In an API, this can also mean that the endpoint is not valid, but the response itself does not exist. Servers may also send a response instead of 403 to hide the existence of a resource from an unauthorized client. This response code is probably the most famous one due to its frequent occurrence on the web. Next we have 405, that is method not allowed. The request method is known by the server but has been disabled and cannot be used. For example, an API may forbid deleting a resource. Next we have 406, that is not acceptable. This response is sent when the web server, after performing some server-driven content negotiation, doesn't find any content that conforms to the criteria given by the user agent. Then we have server error responses. The first one is 500, that is internal server error. This means the server has encountered a situation it doesn't know how to handle. For example, null pointer exception. Then we have 501, that is not implemented. In this, the request method is not supported by the server and cannot be handled. Then we have 502, that is bad gateway. This error response means that the server, while working as a gateway to get a response needed to handle the request, got an invalid response. Then we have 503, that is service unavailable. The service is not ready to handle the request. Common cause are a server that is down for maintenance or that is overloaded. Next we have 504, that is gateway timeout. This error response is given when the server is acting as a gateway and cannot get a response on time. Next we have 505, that is HTTP version not supported. The HTTP version used in the request is not supported by the server. So these are the HTTP response status codes we have. In a typical scenario, you will see 200, that is okay, 400, that is bad request, 401, that is unauthorized, 404, that is not found, and 500, that is internal server error.